Welcome, everyone. And this is the first show of our podcast. And today we're going to be introducing our very special guest from Gears in Heaven, Jeff and Jen. And Gears in Heaven is a nonprofit organization that helps families who have lost a loved one in a motorsport accident. Founded by motorsport enthusiasts Jeff and Jen Forlastro, the organization offers a variety of services, including grief counseling, financial assistance, and volunteer opportunities. Gears in Heaven is also tax exempt, which means that businesses and individuals can donate to the organization with the knowledge that their donation will be used efficiently. Whether you ride or not, you should care about Gears in Heaven because they are helping families heal and stay afloat after a devastating loss. So, without further ado, here's Jeff and Jen, founders of Gears in Heaven, of that wonderful organization. Welcome, guys. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing
Very well,
good.
thank you.
Great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Awesome. What inspired you guys to start Gears in Heaven?
So unfortunately, we lost our son, Brandon Forlastro, in a motorcycle accident this May of 2022. It happened to be his 22nd birthday. And he was an avid motorsport enthusiast. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, you name it. As long as it had an engine, he was really into it. He worked in the community. He worked for car companies, for motorcycle companies in his young age, and just really found it to be his passion in life. So with his passing, we decided that in order to continue his legacy and his passion, we were going to start this nonprofit in order to help other families that unfortunately are going through the similar tragedy that we experienced.
Wow, that's wonderful that you were able to take something that was very traumatic and heartfelt and very close to you, obviously, because it was family, and turn that into something wonderful. And so when you guys got started, I noticed you needed some volunteers and stuff like that to get started. What do motorsport enthusiasts get out of volunteering, or anyone in general, with Gears in Heaven?
Everybody knows someone who has been in a motor vehicle accident, whether it be a car, on their motorcycle, in a truck, or they've heard the horror story of someone that's been killed or seriously injured. More and more are happening out on roads. There's more cars out there. There's more distracted drivers out there. There's more motorcycles out there. There's just a lot more potential for devastating consequences to occur. And we were fortunate to have resources and have support during our unfortunate circumstance. And we decided to pay it forward and to be a conduit for other families that might not have those opportunities. Brandon, at the day of his accident, there was a very large car show happening in our town on the road that he was killed on. And a majority of his friends were either at that show that morning or on their way up to the show. He was in between, going to meet some friends quick for breakfast and then coming back up to the show. So at that scene, there was about 100 or so friends or people that directly knew him because he was in the community. Everybody knew his motorcycle. Everybody knew his cars. So it was at that moment where we saw the real ripple effect that it has on family, friends, colleagues. He worked right down the road about a quarter of a mile from the accident scene. And on that day, they happened to be doing a large motorcycle demonstration. So all of the people at work rushed up to the scene, and immediately people said, "What can we do? How can we help?" So
Wow.
we saw that as the opportunity and the gateway to be able to bring together, use their resources, their talents, their skills, and their passion, and deliver it to other families that needed it. Because there's only so much that one family can take at once, but there's accidents out there every single day. And people from all over, people were reaching out from different parts of the country. Brandon had a very large network of friends and colleagues out there, and just people that saw our story reached out and said, "What can we do?" So we said, we originally thought we were just going to stay really local. And now it's really turned into an opportunity to bring this kind of venture out to all across North America.
Wow. Yeah, that's really powerful because I remember seeing the pictures and everyone coming together at the services, and even at Lime Rock, or one of your first events. It was such a big success. Everyone was just there and just really celebrating life and just raising funds for people who are hurt by this tragedy that unfortunately hits multiple families every single day. So how can businesses and people get involved with Gears in Heaven?
Really, in every business, every person has something that they can offer. Basic services is just sympathy gestures, sending sympathy cards, attending services, donate a couple of bucks here and there to the family's GoFundMe, or sending flowers to the grave site or to the funeral home. Businesses doing donations, helping with fundraising activities is a huge thing, being sponsors for that. But little things, if you have a landscaping business, helping the family with little things around the house, especially this time of the year. Somebody's got to clean up the leaves. Construction companies helping the dripping faucet, accountants, tax professionals helping the family with the probate process. Really, we can find any kind of avenue that for anyone who wants to donate either resources or time, we find a way where they can help directly to the family or help our organization grow and develop so that way we can help other families.
Wow. Yeah, that's really awesome, guys. Good for you. Not that many people could do that. And you, with the amount of support and that I've seen from these events and everything, it's a really good opportunity for just like anyone, because you're just helping out from what I've seen and personally been going to one of your events before. It's just, again, like positive, uplifting vibes and atmosphere that it just you want to be around. So congrats to you guys for doing that. So like, what is essentially your tax status of being a nonprofit, and what does that essentially mean for donors and volunteers?
It's actually quite a great accomplishment for us. It took us only a few months, and usually it can take up to a year or so, depending on how hard the IRS scrutinizes the paperwork. But yeah, we're fully incorporated in the state of Connecticut. We're listed as a public charity with the state of Connecticut, and the tax resources in Connecticut is a nonprofit public charity. And with the IRS, we are a 501c3. So basically, all donations and in-kind contributions are all tax deductible. We are exempt from paying federal income taxes. As a nonprofit, all the money goes directly into the mission of supporting and is offering support and comfort to the families of a motorsport enthusiast that have been killed or seriously injured. All of our volunteers are unpaid. The leaders of the board are all unpaid. Everything just comes through the genuine love and kindness out of people's hearts and their personal attachment to tragedy. Most of the people that have joined volunteer forces with us, we've met at in-person events, car shows, bike nights, just out there in the street, who have lost a loved one or have been deeply affected. Some of them have been in that. So it's really an important thing. And all the funds go directly into that mission, which is a tremendous thing because it creates an astounding impact immediately on the family when we're able to deliver even just smallest contribution of items, the smallest little helps with the chores or the errands, really that we can offer. And now with the economic times, everything is monetary driven and all the costs of everything are going up. So every little bit counts. There's very few tax exemptions that this can take, that individuals can take. So this is a great opportunity to use one of those loopholes. You get to write it off on your taxes. You get to contribute to a great organization and a cause all in one big swoop and just starting out. So for us, takes a vast amount of time and resources and able to capture all of the things that we need to do in order to have the footprint that we want to have and that we need to have. But just alone, we've started out our accident was May 1st. We officially started in June when we started with our celebration of life memorial at Lime Rock. And it's already been 14 families that we've been able to help.
Wow.
Many more that we've been able to touch, but 14 that we've been able to directly help through the mission of our organization. So yeah, just getting donors, sponsors, volunteers, and just brand ambassadors, people out there to get word of our organization out there is just mental and huge, especially at this stage in the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely hear that. And that's a huge benefit for you guys out there, getting the donations and helping people. Most importantly, you're helping people who are going through a huge grieving period in their life and it's unexpected. And again, like with them being like a 501(c)(3).
Yes, there's a bunch of different classifications, number systems, but basically the 501c3 is what is for charitable organizations that are out there doing good for the public. Yeah, and it's 100% legitimate, all tax deductible, and everything that comes into our organization goes directly to helping those families in some form or fashion.
Yeah, guys. So that's awesome. That's wonderful. So that brings me to my next question. Why should people who don't ride still care about Gears in Heaven? That sounds like an obvious one, right? Helping other people. But why else should they do it?
The ripple effect of an accident. It's not always the actual person that's in that accident. It could be the bystander that was in the area that watched that accident that now has PTSD from watching that trauma. It could be that person's coworker that, now has to deal with that loss. That person no longer coming into work, filling the same spot every day, being part of their life day in and day out. So it's the ripple effect. So everybody is always affected. It doesn't matter who you are. You always hear about somebody. You open up Facebook, you open up Instagram, you open up the newspaper, the TV, you always hear about someone saying, oh my God, did you hear about John Smith? We all went to school with John Smith, or Tim down the road, he was just killed. Did you hear about Tim? There's always something you hear about. And most people do say, I wish I could do something. Like, what can we do? I feel horrible. This is going on. This is their opportunity to do something through our organization. We'll hit those people. We will, and if we don't hear about them ourselves, which sometimes that's what we do, we will find out on our own. We'll contact the families, but we can't contact everybody on our own, and we can't find out about everybody on our own either. So people will come to us and say, hey, this happened in Virginia or it happened in Maine. My loved one just perished. So that's why, because everybody is affected. No one is immune to this at all.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That it is a ripple effect. Everyone who loses someone or has it some kind of tragedy in the community, they all feel it. And just to empathize your point even more, just seeing all the support come together at like your events, and people just, I see just like showing support and everything. It's incredible. And it's definitely wonderful seeing people, and that you guys are able to create that outlet for other families and other people. That's beautiful, guys.
But we also get a lot of people at tents that will say to me, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. I talked about this in years. And they'll tell us stories about a loved one and say, it's just so weird. I'm just able to open up to you guys because I think they understand that we're in that business. They're able to connect with us. So that's a nice thing too. Sometimes we don't have to give them, but just our ears. And that's sometimes enough just to know that there's somebody, an organization that's always there. They want us for whatever they want us, really within reason. But most of the time it's just to have someone say, I want to hear about your loved one. I want to hear about what you're going through, and I'm here to help.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. You guys are awesome. So
in the motorsport enthusiast community, they're really a tight-knit group. Everybody knows. And if they don't know the person's name, they're like, oh, I know that car, the silver WRX or the red Camaro. Oh, that green bike. Oh, he's got that purple Harley. Everyone kind of knows each other. They go to the same events, the car shows, the bike meets, and it's all good, clean fun. There's a lot of bad publicity out there, especially like recent events. A couple of car shows got out of control, but that's not a representation of the main population. A lot of it is just good, clean fun. People of all ages, older guys, younger girls. We just went to a celebration of life for a 23-year-old girl, and her car was like, it's a celebrity in the industry. And everyone there is just having good fun. And it was amazing to see the people who have never really been exposed to the community get embraced and get pulled into it and say, wow, this is what it's all about. This is why they spent all their time there. This is why they put all their money into it.
There's a banner there that really reflects what we're trying to support too, and that they're enthusiasts, not criminals, that they really enjoy what they do. It's their hobby, it's their outlets in life. So we want to support that as well and try to get off the stigma that it's the bike's fault, it's the car's fault. Sometimes it is, and sometimes the operator's fault, but we should always celebrate someone's life and what they loved while they're here on this plane. And that's what we want to get across to, that we are there to support their hobby.
And their family, because it's not the family that's left behind. Even if Jen said, if it was the operator's fault, if there was something that went awry, it's not the children left behind that need that stigma or the why, the blame game that shouldn't have happened. Time can't be stopped. It can't be turned backwards. It can only be moved forward. So we try to bring that comfort and support and bring the family forward and keep that positive look on the community, that there's all great qualities to it. It brings people together. It's knowledge. If kids start getting into it, they start learning the metric system. They start learning math. They start learning about torque, horsepower. And it's an outlet, especially for teenagers, for them to get that adrenaline boost. Guys, girls, transgender, like it's all inclusive. We see such diversity in the community. And when an accident happens, everybody comes together. All the different car clubs, all the different motorcycle clubs. It doesn't matter what colors that you're wearing. If you're in one of the motorcycle clubs, all the patches ride together. Everything is put to the side. Everybody just really focuses on doing right by the person who died and showing support for the family. And usually that support dissipates over a couple of weeks, that's where Gears in Heaven has that longevity. We're there for that after effect. The what do we do now that we didn't even realize about this process? Everybody went back home and is back to work. The family left behind is still in a shell. The kids, the husband that's there, the mom is gone, or they're seriously injured. They don't know what to do. For weeks, they had everything covered. Now that person's home and the insurance has paid all of their dues. Now it's up to people in the family to take care of. stuff. And that's where our volunteers can help out. We have some clinically trained professionals, nurses, doctors that can help with that personal wound care, mental health, emotional support, whatever it is that they need, and guide the people through that process. Because that's the stuff everybody kind of overlooks. And it's like, oh man, yeah, I didn't even think about that. And that's really the heavy lifting. In the beginning, it's everybody's bringing casseroles and lasagnas to the house, but all the other things need to be taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything still goes. The world still moves. Everything still turns. And when
Yeah.
you're grieving, you don't want to deal with any of that. So, like I said, that's why we could do anything very small, from helping them with errands and chores all the way to long-term counseling. Like
Wow.
once the family goes, you really feel that emptiness, and it's hard. We have each other. Thank God we had each other. Some people will not have that. They won't even have a spouse or a girlfriend or boyfriend, anybody to talk to. So again, we're that person for them. So we can shape and mold ourselves into their needs, which is a nice quality to have.
And all of our volunteers have a real personal connection. Not all, but I would say most have a
Most.
very deep personal connection to a tragedy due to a motorsport enthusiast dying or being seriously injured. So there's a real personal connection and understanding, and like the boundaries that are there, and what is all right to say and what's not cool to say. It's like there's different periods in people's grieving process that a lot of people don't really see or understand. And that's where we're very fortunate and grateful for our volunteers and everybody who's shown us the support, because together is where we really like everything. That's how everything hired is, everybody coming together and bringing everything to the table, saying, wow, we actually have a lot that we can offer. And it doesn't have to stop here. And let's not stop it here. Brandon wouldn't want it to stop here. He'd want to help other people through it too. And we still need help. We're still getting help, but that's like our learning opportunity too, and our healing opportunity. But
And we're always learning.
yeah, and most of it has come through that just in the beginning. There was so much support for Brandon that we needed to have several events to memorialize him in different venues. One being one where we rented Lime Rock Park here in Connecticut, one of the best race parks in the country. Had a mega car and motorcycle truck show to celebrate the life of all fallen motorsport enthusiasts. It was so embraced by the motorsport enthusiast community, but also by people that we never met. And it was phenomenal seeing all of these cars just pulling in, different license plates, different states, people coming from Maine,
Wow.
people from Delaware, all around. And at first, everyone was, yeah, you have them cars, a couple of people will show up, and it turned into one of the best events that went down, and actually having people really psyched for the next opportunity, Lime Rock included. And that's really where Gears in Heaven kind of birthed out of, was there was so much outpouring from vendors, from sponsors. We said, wow, this was tremendous. We're going to pay it forward to the next family. And that we were able to do that. And we have been doing, 14 now.
Wow,
So it's really,
nice.
it's growing in strength, especially through our social media, people just
Wow.
sharing. People know of that person who lost their brother, and they see our post and they share it and say, hey, Sheila, take a look at this. Hey, Joe, look at this. You're a fireman. You can, you ride. You're in the Fireman Brigade Riding Club, they call themselves. So there's so many different groups and so many different occupations and different walks of life that everybody at some point is impacted. Everybody either rides or drives or knows somebody who rides or drives. And if you don't, you're going to. You might work with them. One day you might go into work and be like, hey, where's Joan? Oh, her husband got killed in a motorcycle accident. And you're like, oh, that's awful. She's the best. What can I do? How can I help her? Here's the opportunity to do it. And we look for other organizations after our accident to join forces with and volunteer time or put some monetary resources in for Brandon's legacy. And there's a lot of tremendous great causes out there, and we support everybody. But there was nothing in this area, or at least that we knew of or could find. Shockingly, yeah. And it was almost like a wow,
oversight or something. Like, why has anyone never thought of this before?
Yeah, and it is, and we've heard it from a lot of families, is there have been a lot of people that have wanted to do this, but have not been able to, either through just their own personal inability of grief, inability or of not, I don't want to say education, but familiarity with the process of how to set up an organization, like what it takes to fundamentally run business. Some people, they don't have many friends. We were very fortunate. We had friends that were immediately able and capable of jumping on our website, building a website platform for us, engaging people through our social media, working with us on marketing, getting our brand out there, logos, creating artwork, things that could really enrich and capture, deliver our content and get our message out there. And it was people like like that, just out of the kindness of their heart. People that I worked with in the past, people that my wife has worked with, people that Brandon worked with, all the members of our board are friends, colleagues, somehow tied in through the motorsport community or through Brandon or us, that have just brought all of their professional and life experience to the table and really been able to grow the organization forward. People with financial skills, people with legal skills, people with a lot of medical knowledge, people that are grief and emotional counseling certified, people that are ordained ministers, people that are audio engineers, people that are, housekeeper and cleaners, landscapers. Yeah, no, it was like the perfect storm of everything. And that was just for us and our family. So now with the network that we're building, we're able to really bring a lot of force, or at least hopefully bring a lot of force and a lot of power.
Yeah, for sure.
It's never planned. It's never accepted. It's never easy. So the more resources that we have and the more people that can join in and help out in any way that they can, the better, because the accident numbers are rising every single day. We're getting alerted. We're seeing things. The last statistic was in the United States, every 15 minutes, there's a fatal motor vehicle accident, whether it be a car, a motorcycle, a truck.
Which is about 3,300 a day.
Yeah, that's a
Which is-
shocking, such a sad statistic.
And then
Yeah,
Yeah.
way too many. With all the resources and education that we have out there in the world, there's no reason for that to be happening. And that's one thing that we try to do, is bring a lot of safety advocacy out there, teaching moments, training moments, teaching people about motorcycle awareness, teaching people about
hand
cars,
signals.
hand signals, appropriate braking the vehicles, speed, why speeding is kills, getting people to bring things from road racing, channel that energy onto a track in a safe, controlled environment. And
Yeah,
there's a lot to it.
there's a lot to it.
That's where we're
Yeah.
digging in on.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about like your personal background and how did you get involved into motorsports?
So I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse since 2016, but I've been in the care field since 95. So I've been a nurse for a long time. So that's my professional background. And I have a lot of different backgrounds that will support this long-term care. I've done a lot of hospice within the buildings that I'm on, and just talking to people in general that are going through being sick is a grieving process. It's not fun when you have a stroke or you have someone has a heart attack. There's a lot that goes with that and a lot that the family needs. So I'm strong in that background. And in regards to the motorsports, we were just with Brandon. Brandon was always telling us about what he did, and we followed and we attended car shows here and there. And not as much as we do now, but we definitely attended and watched and listened to him and what he had to offer. At first, we didn't understand the whole motorsport enthusiast game either, because he was different to us. But then we saw how he lit up. His eyes lit up, his smile lit up when he would talk about the cars, when he would show us the videos or show us the pictures of the cars that he had seen at the shows. And to us, whenever you see a child light up, whatever they do, you try to be involved in that as much as you can.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And I grew up with my uncle used to race it when the Danbury Fair, where the Danbury Mall is, they used to have the race arena over there. One of my other uncles was a huge collector of old muscle cars. My cousins, myself, my brother, we all grew up on dirt bikes, motocross. A couple of my cousins were into like BMX and other real motocross with motorcycles. So I grew up with that, put it away in my teens and grown. And then Brandon really just flourished with it, starting from an early age, was obsessed with cars. And then it morphed into motorcycles, trucks, like really everything. And it really was amazing to see that these kids were always just working on their cars, getting a car that any other person would be like perfectly satisfied with. And they aren't. They're like, no, I got to change the engine. I'm going to put headers on it. I'm lowering it. I'm
The
putting
bag.
exhaust. I'm going to, and
Putting the terminology.
it's a
onto
good outlet for a lot of kids. It keeps them, it
Yeah.
keeps all their money tied up into the car, so they're not out there spending it on alcohol, spending it on drugs. And as much as people think it's like Fast and Furious, they don't race their cars because they're afraid of anything happening to it. When we went to Run Rock, we thought everybody was going to want to go out there on the track with their car, and it was so hesitant. We had to tell a couple of them, you are taking your car out there. Yeah, hurt it. It's not going to damage it. Knock it off. You have this race car thing that you have built up, and you're going to at least do 30 miles an hour in it, cruising around the track. Yeah.
They're all glad that they
And
did.
they're all glad that they did. Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's really cool,
You
guys.
had a bit where you're bonding with the enthusiasts and showing your support to them. They also showing support to their families and their parents. God forbid something were to happen to them. So it's a very nice combination of what we get to offer everybody.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's spot on.
Which is rewarding, and then to us as well, because it allows us to talk about our son, which we like
We
to.
love talking.
We love talk about him
Yeah.
all the time. And other people who have lost their loved ones, they want to talk about their loved ones too. That's definitely a part of their formula they want to include. So we enjoy hearing about what they did and what they accomplished as well. For the others that have lost their kids, there's a bond that's there that you look into the eyes of another mother who's lost, or another father, he looks into another father's eyes, and there's a connection there that is like no other connection in the world. And it's just an unspoken language. And sometimes that's all that the family needs to know is, hey, I'm in this shit club with you. We're in the language, we're in this horrible club together. And we both know that we didn't ask to be here, but we are. And we're going to try to make the best of it. We're here for you. One mother said to me, I was at a funeral, I think it was maybe like 5 or 6 weeks after we started going. And she had lost her son. He just got out of the service and was killed. And she hugged me and she said, you give me hope, because if you're here after your son died at 5 weeks, that gives me hope that at least I have time, that I'll get better with time. Because if you can attend my son's funeral, then maybe I can attend someone else's. So you get to pay that forward as well.
Wow, that's really beautiful. Wow. So
Yes, we get rewarded that way. So it's a lot of hard work, constantly. It's endless, but we also get rewarded. Just like nursing for me that's why I stayed in it as long as I did, is because you get something back. And that's what everybody should be doing in life, I believe, is getting something back and helping humanity, because that's what we're here for, is help other people, I believe, on this earth. Yeah, so we hope to help a lot more people. And it's unfortunate. We always say, I'm sorry that we're meeting, or if we give our card, we say to them,
I hope you never.
you hope, hi, nice to meet you, but I
Yeah.
hope I never see you again. We hope you never call us a thing.
And we can't stop all the accidents,
Yeah.
but they're always going to be there. So
Yeah.
really we're just trying to put ourselves out there into the public's eye and engage with everyone. So that way, when there is an accident, we immediately pop into their head, like, here's what you can do. Kind of when there's a hurricane, people immediately think like Red Cross, FEMA.
Yeah.
Like, those are the organizations that are set up and have the capabilities to deliver what needs to happen. When there's an emergency situation, 911, like just training people because there is nothing out there in this space. And when the tragedies happen, if somebody's in the hospital or somebody is dead, people can't rationally think. Even when there's an emergency situation, people have to be reminded to dial 911. So the
Yeah.
more we can get our word and our mission out there, when something happens, even like first responders can say, I know right now you're going through a lot, so gearsinheaven.org. Check them out on Facebook. Check them out on Instagram. These are the people that can help. I know what you need. You don't know what you need. No one's going to be able to tell you what you need, but these people can help a little bit, or any way that you can think of, or that they can think of. So that's like the big support that we're really asking for. Obviously, the monetary donations are everything, but the real thing is that personal connection and getting the word out there, just really growing. That's how all great organizations start out, is just people touting the mission, saying, here's the problem out there in society, and here's the organization that fills that void.
So that brings me up to my next question, because that just sparked a really great question. What are some of the challenges you faced, particularly with Gears in Heaven, and how have you overcome them?
We're facing them constantly because we're still starting out and learning. But the biggest ones right off the bat were getting everything 100% legal and on the books. So we started with Connecticut Secretary of State, and I have previous career history with setting up other brands and businesses. So I was fairly familiar with the process, but I still did need legal counseling and resources to be able to get it through. So doing all of the paperwork, incorporating, setting everything up with the tax, with the IRS, with the state of Connecticut tax, getting insurance, getting the website, doing all that kind of back end tech things, the mission statements, the bylaws. Like I said, fortunately, we had some friends that were able to jump in and help out with some of the back end technology things, doing the website, things like that just take an enormous amount of time and energy and skill. And we're still facing those challenges. The social media game, it's constant. So trying to break through the algorithms, setting up things with Google, a lot of it financially, setting up with the banks, setting up all the accounts that we had to. It's actually quite amazing how much a nonprofit has to go through to get set up, as opposed to just an ordinary for-profit business. So it took a deal of manpower and hours just to get through all of that and get us structured as a real entity. We trademarked and registered our Gears in Heaven logo, the verbiage, getting all the resources that we needed to do in-person events. We have a little 10 by 10 tent, the table with all the informational material material, who we are, what we do, facts and figures. It all was a big learning process too, because when we first started up, it was we put in a website and funnel everything through there. And it slowly grew out to needing to be more than that. And we're still finding out what it needs and what it takes. And it's daunting sometimes. And that's why we're really looking forward to capturing more donations and garnering more volunteers. So that way we have the ability and we have the resources to spread out faster. We've been primarily through like the New England region, but we've had requests from people down in North Carolina, people in Virginia, people out in California.
Mhm.
So there is a vast need and there's a void to be filled. And I think we can do it.
Yeah.
We can do
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Yeah, you guys can do everything. I know you guys.
Own way. We've only been officially 5 months into the arena. Some companies that have been out there for years and nonprofits that are still trying to get their 501c. Thankfully, my wife was there. She was a huge resource and asset and able to really focus in and dial in and take a lot of things and mature this into what it is and what it's growing into. And then our friends, our family, the directors, the community.
You?
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, you, the podcast, just really everybody who's said, wow, I can help, or what can I do, or this is what I can offer. It's all organically grown. And that's what we wanted, was just something that naturally came from the heart that we all have experience with. And if you don't have the experience with, that's fine. We're not there for everybody, and not everybody is going to get it. And we still have some people that come up to us at in-person events and they say outlandish things, or we see it on Facebook or on Instagram. It's really unfortunate. Somebody alerts that there was a horrible accident, this or that, and somebody who doesn't even know anything just posts something really like just crass or crude. Oh, good riddance to biker scum, or oh, they must have been doing 100. Stupid people play stupid
they get
games
for having
with
a fast
stupid
car.
ads. And that's not even the case. That's not even what had happened or transpired. But now somebody in family reads that, or kids see that, or just a random person sees that. And that's the impression they have in their mind now. That's what happened. And it's not. That person riding the motorcycle had a beautiful family. They were a good citizen, and they were killed at a stoplight by a drunk driver. Not, or a deer hit them, but immediately it's there, especially with a motorcycle accident, there's a very bad stigma to the motorcycle community that they're the quote unquote dirty, bad biker. And absolutely untrue. The majority of motorcycle riders are really hardened professionals. A lot of them are firefighters, police officers,
Lawyers.
doctors, lawyers, very high level professionals, or just their whole life they've grown up around motorsports, motorcycles, quads, fast cars, what have you. And even people with the souped up muscle cars, they're not out there at midnight drag racing doing all this fast and furious stuff. It does happen,
Sure.
without a doubt, but that's a subsection of it. Even in like the motorcycle community, that's why the outlaw motorcycle gangs call themselves 1%ers, because it's only 1% of the population that engages in that kind of activity, unsafe, reckless behavior, burnout, popping wheelies where there's people around, or crowded intersections, or engaging in that kind of nefarious stuff. Most of it's good, clean, healthy fun. And a lot of it is family fun. We go to car shows and there's grandkids there. There's older people there. There's young people learning from older people, older guys and girls learning from like the younger community of, why do you want your car to have more horsepower? How come you guys put your car down so low? Like, they learn and embrace from each other and evolve. Back in the day, it was all about, they wanted that old heavy car that ran horsepower. And nowadays it's about that import car that's lowered around and has a big wing on it and is a crazy color. And it's not always about the speed. It's about the lights, or like the two-step coming out. It's just different times, but the passion is still there. The enjoyment of it.
It's more aesthetics than it is speed.
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. So my final question over here is, what are the future goals for Gears in Heaven, and how can people or businesses get involved and help?
Now, our big thing is, since we received our official 501c3 certification, is we really want to approach big businesses, manufacturers of cars or motorcycles and trucks, insurance companies, hospitals, rehabilitation centers, funeral homes, the immediate big area things, law firms, try to garner their sponsorship and donations so that way we can be secured financially to do what we have to do. And that way we can pull in the day kind of person as volunteer and direct immediate funds that they want to donate directly into a family. And I think we're going to be able to do it fairly easy because, like I said, we all know it's statistically an anomaly. If you are above the age of 18 and you do not know somebody yet who has been in a vehicle, know of who has been in family, it's the number one leading cause of PTSD in the United States are motor vehicle accidents. And a big subset of it are motorsport enthusiasts. And that's kind of like where our niche lies. But everybody knows. So you don't have to ride. You don't have to have a cool car. You don't have to go to car shows. You just have to be a compassionate human that's out there. And now more and more developed countries, there's more people driving out there. We have a lot of followers and fans from different countries, Thailand, Nigeria,
England.
Dubai, England, everybody, all countries, they all love cool cars. They all love motorcycles, and they're all people. And every country has accidents.
Yeah.
So they don't know any boundaries. So either do we.
Absolutely. How can people get involved with Gears in Heaven and go about volunteering or donating?
Sure, yeah. Our website is the best. It's www.gearsinheaven.org. Really simple, gearsinheaven.org. You can go on there, you can volunteer, you can donate, you can sign up for our newsletter, you can read our blogs, you can see a little bit more about what we do. That's the best vehicle to do it. Or through Facebook, through Instagram, on Twitter, our YouTube channel. Everything we have is Gears in Heaven. So it's pretty easy to remember. We're on Google. You can hit us up on that through Messenger. Really, however you want to go out there, just type us into your browser, Gears in Heaven, and there's going to be some form or fashion of how you can get in contact with us.
Wow, that's awesome, guys. And you heard it from them, guys. So go ahead, follow them, and definitely go to their website, make a donation, and even volunteer. Anything can help. And it's going to be helping out the community, people that you love the most, and it's making a difference in your life and the world overall. So if you'd like to go ahead and do that, go ahead and visit gearsinheaven.org. Go follow them on social media and just share this podcast episode with your friends or family members. All the help that is needed and could be used from your actions and your voice. So with your sharing of the message, it'll really help a lot. And thanks so much, guys, for staying here and watching and meeting Jeff and Jen. And it was great having you guys here. And I'm sure they're going to be back over here again, giving another awesome, wonderful episode. So thank you guys, Jeff and Jen, for being here. You guys are awesome and amazing. And to the rest of you guys, have a great night.